Hi and welcome. In this SATSOFT how-to video, we show and explain the useful tool in SATSOFT called Performance Table. This tool has been in SATSOFT for a while, but in the second part of the video we show new ways for setting up, recomputing and deleting several performance tables in one go, which was introduced in SATSOFT 3.4. To illustrate performance tables in SATSOFT, we have set up this project that consists of two satellites, each with 3 antennas providing beams on different regions on Earth as shown by the antenna names in the Project Explorer. The first satellite is at 5 degrees west, and the visible region on Earth from this satellite is within the red contour. The second satellite is at 56 degrees west, and its visible region on Earth is within the blue contour. To set up and display a performance table, we first consider the Brazil 5 antenna and open its view by double-clicking on it in the Project Explorer. The Brazil 5 view shows selected contours for this pattern. The beam covers Brazil as can be seen, and the red markers indicate positions of selected Brazilian cities. Pattern contours shown on the map is a very useful way of visualizing antenna beams from satellites. This information can be supplemented by similar beam data in a table, which is what performance tables are for. To set up a performance table for the antenna, either click on the antenna in the Project Explorer and then click on the New Performance Tables buttons in the top menu. Or right-click on the antenna in the Project Explorer and go to New Performance Tables. This creates a new performance table called ptable1 as a child object of the antenna. To open the performance table view, simply double-click on it. This is what a new performance table with default settings looks like. It displays antenna beam data for cities and stations. In this particular example, we have not added any stations to the antenna, and had we not added the cities, the performance table would have been empty. So make sure to add either cities or stations to the antenna before setting up a performance table. The performance table displays, in this case, names and coordinates for the Brazilian cities, while the last column displays the antenna beam directivity. To modify what information is displayed in the performance table, right-click and select Performance Table Options. This opens this dialog where settings for the performance table can be adjusted. Things like polarization, whether to display information for cities or stations can be set. Here we'll adjust which columns to display in the table. Since we have one antenna beam only in this example, we'll toggle off the trivial beam number. Likewise, since we have no stations added into the antenna, we'll also hide the station number column. On the other hand, we'll show the minimum pointing, the XPD, the slope, and the axial ratio. Finally, we click on OK to update the performance table. The performance table then shows the selected information over the same Brazilian cities as previously. So we still have information about longitude and latitude coordinates of the cities, as well as the copolar directivity over each city. We now also display minimum pointing, which is the lowest directivity at the city when considering the pointing error. XPD quantifies the crosspole discrimination. AR is the axial ratio, while slope is a measure for how fast the pattern varies across the cities. The performance table can be sorted according to any of the columns by left-clicking the column header. This will first sort the table in descending order according to the column, and if you left-click again, it will sort in ascending order. So if we sort in descending order according to the slope, we have the cities with the highest slope at the top. These are also often the cities where the difference between the directivity and the minimum pointing is the highest, because the antenna beams change the most a bit away from the city when the slope is high. We sort again the table according to the first number column. It is possible to select individual fields as well as entire columns in the table. To select an entire column, right-click on the column header. To select several columns, hold down the Control button and right-click the column headers. It's also possible to select the entire table with Ctrl A. And the entire table or selected columns can be copied to the clipboard with a Ctrl+C. We then open a blank Excel spreadsheet, and with Ctrl+V, we paste the entire performance table in it. We can use or process the data further here, and it's also easy to include them in a report or presentations. Let's go back to SATSOFT and the performance table. This was a short introduction to what a performance table is, how it can be customized, and how data in it can be selected and carried over to, for example, Excel. We head back to the composite view in the project. In practical situations, SATSOFT projects often consist of several satellites and even more antennas. In SATSOFT before version 3.4, performance tables could only be created and recomputed one at a time. In SATSOFT 3.4, we have introduced a couple of new ways to create several performance tables more easily in one go. Similarly, all or several performance tables can now be recomputed and deleted in one go. In this example project, we have two satellites, each with two antennas. If we click on the first satellite in the Project Explorer and then click on the New Performance Tables button in the top menu, it will create a new performance table for each child antenna of the satellite. Had there been any child delta patterns on the satellite, performance tables would also have been created for these. If we instead click on the project title at the top of the Project Explorer and again click on the New Performance Tables buttons in the top menu, a new performance table is created for each antenna and delta pattern in the entire project. So it's now easy to bulk create performance tables for all antennas under a satellite, as well as in the entire SATSOFT project. However, the user may want to customize exactly for which antennas on which satellites new performance tables are created, and this is also possible. To do this, go to Tools and click on Performance Table Manager in any program view. This opens the Performance Table Manager that was also introduced in SATSOFT 3.4. In the Performance Table Manager, objects in the project are displayed in the same way as in the Project Explorer, and the Performance Table Manager can be used for creating, recomputing, and deleting a custom selection of performance tables. That is, not just for an entire satellite or the entire project as we saw previously. As an example, click on these three antennas and then on Create. This creates new performance tables for exactly these antennas, which are not all sitting on the same satellite. Or click on these 6 performance tables and then on Delete. This deletes these 6 performance tables. Or highlight one or more performance tables and click on Recompute, which recomputes the data in the selected performance tables. In this particular example, recompute doesn't change anything, but if the antenna patterns had been changed, for example by importing a new or updated pattern data set, this would recompute the data in the performance table. Early in this video, we customized which columns to display in the first performance table under the Brazil 5 antenna. We may want to reuse these settings in other performance tables, and in SATSOFT prior to version 3.4, this had to be done one performance table at a time. We now show how the settings can be bulk applied to other performance tables. We right-click on the performance table and click on Performance Table Options. At the bottom of the Options dialog, we click on the new Apply to Other Performance Tables button. This opens a dialog with the available performance tables in the project shown. We select 2 of these and press on Apply and close the dialog. Next, we go to the performance table under Southern Africa 5 antenna, one of the performance tables that we have copied the settings to. This performance table shows data for other cities because the antenna covers another part of Earth. But the columns displayed in this table are exactly the same as those we set up for the performance table under the Brazil 5 antenna. So it's now easy to reuse performance table settings from one performance table to other performance tables within the same SATSOFT project. Thank you very much for watching this SATSOFT how-to video. We hope you enjoyed it.